we're going to be building a budget gaming PC with a very weird twist, and that is this 1080 Ti. I picked this up for 600 Aussie dollars on a recent deals hunt. I'll put the link to that video up here. But someone messaged me and they wanted me to trade this and $400 my way and a 1070 Ti. So I just said that seems like a good deal. It's in my favor. And so whenever trades work out in your favor, usually you take them up. So out of the good courtesy of my heart, I've given this graphics card right here some tech, yes, ultra clean, loving, and now we're gonna go deliver the goods. And of course, after you do this kind of cleaning, the thing runs even better than brand new. But let's go jump in the car and then we'll talk about what other parts we're gonna piece out for what's going to be the best price performance gaming PC I've put together in 2021.
Hey bro, are you tired of seeing this annoying activate Windows message? Then if so, today's video sponsor SCD Keys has you covered. For as little as $14 using the coupon code BFTYC, you can get activated today. Works for Windows 11 Pro too. Links in the description below.
So we ended up just hitting up this 1070 Ti. It was weird. He had $350 cash, then he put $50 in my bank account. So that's the trade done there. But also someone's messaged me now and we're gonna go quickly pick up a PC for 400 Aussie. Sometimes when you're doing stuff on the road, so many different things come up and you're just like, yeah, let's roll. We're now back with the 1070 Ti, and when I handed over the card, they just messaged me about 20 minutes ago and said they were super happy with it. They were absolutely loving it. And they gave me the 1070 Ti, which they've cleaned up, and they've actually changed the thermal paste around. So I really won't have to give it any more cleaning. But on that note, we've effectively got this graphics card for 200 Aussie dollars, a 1070 Ti, which in this market, especially considering all those miners are still buying GPUs, it's a very good deal. And so the way that we did that was we had the higher price card and we had the more desirable card, at least for people who want to upgrade, and they're willing to trade their inferior card and pay more. So this really makes it one of the better deals that I've got on GPUs. But we'll talk about some of the other stars of the show here, because I'll put up the total tally of this build for you and how much it's going to set me back. Now the next ripper deal that we've got here is a 600 watt power supply. This is from FSP, it's 80 plus. And now some people who build PCs, and if they're giving you advice, they might tell you to stay away from used power supplies. But over the course of years of building PCs, I've never had a problem with a used power supply that's passed the power supply tester, considering I haven't gone crazy with the demand on that power supply. For instance, don't get a 450 watt power supply and then go chuck a 1080 Ti on it with an 8-core CPU and expect it to be an absolutely amazing experience. So you've always got to match your power supply to the goods. So a 600 watt power supply for a Ryzen 5 1600 and a 1070 Ti is going to be absolutely fine, especially when it's giving out good readings on this power supply tester. Now, some of the other really good deals that makes this build is a $25 A320 motherboard. We got this super cheap off the used market. I've actually had it here in the studio for a while. However, it didn't come with an IO shield, so that's the downside. Sometimes you get a cheaper product, there is a little bit of a negative there. But we've also got the Ryzen 5 1600, and we got that for $90 in the parts hunt. Now we are adding in some drives. The 120GB SSDs, really cheap, really good for that base drive. Then we're adding in a 2TB drive to keep the storage up and put all your games on. Then for the case, we've got here a new part that is a TR1100 3-ring fans, and also I can take out the power supply that's included and use that in an office PC later on the line. And then last of all, we've got the RAM, which we also went new with some Kingston Fury. I picked this up off the new sale on eBay, and it's got RGB as well as the motherboard having some LEDs on it. We're gonna have a little bit of bling since we are going with that Ray Stealth cooler, so we're gonna add on the bling as much as we can with getting some good deals.
chilling in the chair, I'll be sipping it. Watch a bunch of shows, I'm getting it. Yeah, I understand it's a quarantine, I got to be chilling all alone, but I'm getting sick. People who be running after the office, signing politics, and scrambling to tell the kid to stop. I ain't gonna leave the room, I don't wanna kill a few with that the shit that is inside my car. Look at the drop, chicken it bigger than now, taking a part of the crowd. Don't wanna pop, I don't wanna them down, better be kicking them out. Look at the box, smoking loud up in my damn house. Solo though I know I'm never going on and out. Party on my own now. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Going so loud. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Slow down, get on now. Slow down, oh, party on my own. Party on my own. I'm doing what I'm doing, I don't got a lot to prove. And if I'm moving, then I'm grooving, cause I wanna do it. Stupid, got my music and I lose it to another tune or two. If I don't get to move it. Even real can do it when I'm cooking. And you know I'm cooking bacon. You don't wanna check under the apron. Vacuum the whole room naked, facing windows so people who out getting the greatness. Telling me better to hate this, really though it ain't shit when you could compare to what the other people facing. So what I am drinking, still half full is true when comparing to the nations. Party on my own now. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Going so loud. Look at all the people trying to hold me back, hold me back. Slow down, oh, party on my own. Party on my own.
And so after finishing playing Call of Duty Warzone, the first title, we were getting over 100 FPS at pretty much all the time at high settings at 1080p. Now, the 0.1% and 1% lows were very smooth. That has to do with the RAM, mainly on Ryzen CPUs. You definitely want dual channel, 2 sticks of memory, and we've tuned it up to 3200 megahertz. And that's really making a difference. And I've noticed no stuttering in this title, just as Apex Legends, which is now free to play on Steam. I mean, it's been free to play on Steam for a while, I think, but I haven't played it in a long time. So I was playing the dude who drops the traps and stuff like that, and I was running around and I was getting a few frags. However, what I noticed with Warzone and also Apex is that the players who play these games are pretty good. Like, the average level of competition is definitely going to be good, at least on the servers that I'm playing on. So you'll definitely want a PC that doesn't stutter, especially when it comes to those clutch team fights. And that's exactly what this PC was bringing. It was bringing a smooth experience that anyone can get onto and play games really well. Even though it only has the first generation Ryzen, I found this to be very good value for money. You couple that with the A320 motherboard and you're going to get phenomenal price performance. And if you want to play a lot of these popular multiplayer titles, then you've also still got all those latest instruction sets on the Ryzen 5 1600, AVX2, and you can still upgrade to something like a 3600 later on down the line without having to change your motherboard if you want a bit more performance on the CPU. Though in terms of power consumption, we were using up about 280 watts. Though most of this power consumption will come from the graphics card, and in this case, you're probably wondering, well, this has got the blower style cooler, and they usually run pretty hot and loud. And this is how loud it's running at the moment. We did set a custom fan profile with MSI Afterburner, and what this does essentially raises the fan speeds above default, where at the default levels, it was going into the 80-degree region, but after a custom fan profile, it does increase the noise a little bit, but we still keep the temperatures in the mid 70s. And the Race Stealth was doing a fine job of keeping the CPU at around 70 degrees too. And this cheap case here, even though it's budget, we put that 12 centimeter fan in, we added that into the budget, and that we put that on the rear just to exhaust the hot air since it originally didn't have that. And surprisingly, the whole build was quiet and still doing a decent job of keeping temperatures quite low. Anyhow, as it stands moving forward, the prices of graphics cards is the hardest component. Anyone I talk to right now, getting graphics cards is still the most difficult part when it comes to building a PC. And in this case, this might be another avenue you wish to explore where, say for instance, you find a higher end GPU at a better price. There's definitely someone out there that may want to trade up, and then you can get a really good deal like we did on this 1070 Ti. So that's just some food for thought, but when it comes to the other parts in the build, everything else in this build, just like the GPU, even though the GPU was a bit of a luckier find, was a really good price. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to ask below. But as it stands, I really enjoyed putting this thing together, and it's some of the best price performance, definitely in 2021, that I've put together so far. Though with that aside, we got the question of the day here, which comes from Tristan Gray, and they ask, how did we get to the point where a budget graphics card is $500 plus? Crazy to me, honestly. At this point, after 20 years, I may become a console gamer. So they're referring to the RX 6600 XT, where we pretty much said what the pricing would be on the streets, and it is around $500 for this card. And unfortunately, when you look at the card itself, it's pretty much similar in terms of an RX 580 or a GTX 1060 in the actual components, not in the performance. The performance is a lot better than those two graphics cards in question, but in terms of the actual components and everything, in terms of where it should cost, it should be around a $250 card. But the demand right now for GPUs, especially the newer ones that are much more efficient, the crypto miners are still buying these things up and putting them on mining benches. So when you've got that element at play, then it's always going to raise the prices artificially higher. And so you're going to see this continue on in the GPUs as long as mining's relatively profitable versus the price of power and electricity that people are paying. You're going to see this trend continue. But there's also the other factor that I've spoken about, inflation as well. This is a big one that's definitely more of a reactive thing that's coming into play with the $389 MSRP, which we spoke about in our review. But in terms of going forward, graphics cards are definitely, I feel, going to be higher priced than what they have been in the past due to that inflation element. It's just in terms of crypto miners stacking onto the demand and raising the prices, what's the real prices of these cards going to be? We're only going to find out once the miners go away. So until that happens, we won't actually know the true price that the market's going to set these cards at. Though what you said about the console, they're actually extremely good value for the money right now in terms of what you're getting in those things, not just in terms of the actual specs, but the GPU power going into all the new gen consoles is really impressive for the money. So, I mean, I don't blame people if they're PC gamers and they're switching over to console. It's perfectly valid right now. It's actually extremely difficult, especially for someone buying parts off the internet, to beat the value that the new consoles bring. Anyhow, hope that answers that question. And if you stayed this far and you're enjoying that content, be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out for now. Bye.